How purpose reshapes the aging curve. Purpose is often treated as psychological, a feeling, a mindset, something nice to have once basic needs are met. But the data tells a different story. Purpose changes how the body ages. Researchers first noticed it in long-term population studies. Individuals with a strong sense of purpose live longer, but more importantly, they aged differently. Decline arrived later. Recovery lasted longer. Resilience stayed intact well into older age. These were not marginal differences or isolated anecdotes. The curves themselves bent, showing delayed inflection points where aging typically accelerates. The shape of aging changed, not just its endpoint. At first, scientists were cautious. Purpose is difficult to quantify. It overlaps with social connection, activity levels, and mental health. Any one of these could have explained the effect. But as studies controlled for lifestyle, income, exercise, and access to care, the pattern remained. Purpose exerted an independent influence. Something about having a reason to engage with life was altering biology directly. To understand why this mattered, scientists had to look beyond motivation and into physiology, because purpose does not just influence behavior. It alters stress responses, immune function, and repair processes at a biological level. Purpose acts as a signal that organizes how effort and recovery are allocated across time. It gives stress a destination. People with purpose showed more adaptive stress patterns. Challenges still activated the system, but recovery followed quickly. Inflammation rose and resolved. Sleep deepened after effort instead of fragmenting. Hormonal rhythms remained distinct, with clear peaks and troughs. The nervous system behaved as if stress had a beginning, a middle, and an end, rather than lingering indefinitely. In contrast, those who lost purpose experienced something quieter but more damaging. Stress lingered. Vigilance stayed high. The body prepared for demands that never came. Without a clear reason to engage, stress responses remained diffuse, never resolving fully, because there was nothing concrete to resolve toward. Biology stayed on standby, conserving rather than repairing. What triggered this loss was often structural. Retirement without replacement, roles that ended abruptly, identities that dissolved faster than new ones formed. These were not failures of character or mindset. They were environmental gaps where continuity had once existed. The scaffolding that gave days meaning vanished, and nothing equivalent replaced it. The body interpreted this as uncertainty. And uncertainty, sustained over time, accelerated aging, not because life became harder, but because it became less legible. Biology struggled to determine when to mobilize and when to stand down. Energy was conserved, not invested. Repair slowed because future demand felt unclear. This was the first clue that longevity is not only shaped by what we do, but by whether life still gives us a reason to adapt. Purpose provided direction to effort. Without it, effort lost coherence, and recovery lost priority. The system stayed active enough to survive, but not engaged enough to thrive. As researchers followed individuals through major life transitions, the biological impact of purpose became clearer. When purpose was preserved, aging slowed. When it vanished, decline accelerated. These shifts appeared even when physical activity and social contact remained unchanged. Movement alone was not protective. Interaction alone was not sufficient. Purpose acted like an organizing signal. It gave structure to effort, direction to stress. The nervous system knew when to engage and when to rest. Energy expenditure felt justified, and recovery felt earned rather than provisional. Biology understood why resources were being spent. Without purpose, stress became diffuse. Effort lost meaning. The body remained alert without clear targets. Repair signals weakened because vigilance never fully shut off. The system stayed prepared, but not restored. Over time, this imbalance accumulated as accelerated wear. Biomarkers reflected this shift. Elevated inflammation, disrupted sleep, flattened hormonal rhythms, reduced metabolic flexibility. These changes appeared even in people who remained physically active and socially connected. Activity alone was not enough. Movement without necessity did not send the same signal. What mattered was necessity, being needed, being relied upon. Purpose carried biological weight. only when absence would have consequences. The body responded differently when it sensed that its functions still mattered beyond personal satisfaction or entertainment. This explained why hobbies often fail to protect longevity. Activity without responsibility did not send the same signal. The body distinguished between engagement and occupation. Enjoyment alone did not maintain long-term resilience. Purpose required consequence. Purpose also buffered adversity. Those with clear roles recovered faster from illness. Stressors resolved more cleanly. Aging curves bent gently instead of dropping sharply. When hardship arrived, it had context and direction, allowing biology to mobilize and then release. Stress completed its cycle. The data forced a reevaluation. Longevity was not sustained by comfort or leisure. It was sustained by meaningful demand, not constant pressure, but clear contribution. The body thrived when effort mattered to something beyond itself. And when that demand disappeared, biology responded as if the future itself had become uncertain. Repair slowed. Conservation replaced growth. Aging accelerated quietly, without drama, until decline became visible. The conflict emerges when modern life removes purpose earlier than biology expects. Systems optimize for efficiency, not continuity. Roles end abruptly. Replacement is swift. Contribution is treated as optional rather than structural. People are removed from relevance while still biologically prepared for it. Retirement exemplifies this. Decades of responsibility can vanish overnight. Structure collapses. Days lose shape. The body interprets this sudden drop in demand as instability rather than relief. Stress does not resolve. It disperses. Researchers observed that individuals who retired without new roles experienced accelerated biological aging. Even when financially secure and physically healthy, stress did not disappear. It transformed into uncertainty, which proved more corrosive over time than effort ever was. Attempt to replace purpose with leisure often failed. Entertainment filled time, but not necessity. The nervous system remained on standby, waiting for relevance that never arrived. Rest without purpose did not produce restoration. Recovery requires a reason. Those who age better experience continuity, mentorship, caregiving, contribution that evolved rather than ended. Purpose changed form instead of vanishing. Demand softened but did not disappear. The body sensed ongoing usefulness. The conflict, then, is systemic. Longevity suffers not because people lose motivation, but because environments stop requiring them. Biology expects relevance to persist longer than modern structures allow. When relevance ends too early, systems downshift prematurely. Modern societies excel at extending lifespan. They struggle to extend usefulness. And without usefulness, the body loses a critical signal to maintain itself. Years are added, but vitality thins. Until this gap is addressed, adding years may continue to feel like adding weight rather than life. Bodies persist, but systems downshift. The climax of this story is the realization that purpose is not a luxury for longevity. It is a requirement. When the body senses that it is still needed, it allocates resources differently. Repair takes priority. Resilience remains high. Aging slows not because damage is avoided, but because recovery stays efficient. The resolution is not to chase meaning abstractly. It is to design lives where responsibility evolves instead of ending, where contribution remains necessary, even as form changes, where usefulness is preserved, not erased. Longevity does not thrive in idleness. It thrives in engagement that carries consequence, in roles where absence will be felt. As populations age, this insight becomes urgent. Extending life without extending purpose creates fragile years. Bodies persist, but systems downshift. Because in the end, the body ages fastest not when it works too hard, but when it no longer knows why it should keep working at all.